Welcome back, Top Notch Gang, to another video. Once again, we're still in the break week for Power Book 3 Raising Kanan Season 4. Of course, we didn't get an episode this week, but this gives us enough time to dive into Lou. Lou has been a character that we haven't really talked about much this season. He hasn't really had much going on, facing the fallout of, killing D-Wigs and Scrap, him being drunk and having to go to rehab, and basically leaving the game by the end of season 3. Lou has slowly but surely been working his way back in, and they've been leaving so many clues, hints, and details of all the possibilities that we can see his character play out within these next few episodes. That includes the reveal of the death of Fame and him wanting revenge for that situation. Of course, his new artist B-Rilla, them bumping heads as of recently, and B-Rilla going rob the record exec that's over both of them, how that could come into play. A lot of people believe Lou could possibly take him out, and last but not least, him getting back in the game with Marvin, Rock, the kills he's gonna get from that, going after Unique, possibly Detective Garcia, and Stefano as well. So we're just gonna go ahead and break down all the clues, details, teasers, and everything we've seen so far, and you guys can let me know your thoughts and predictions for the rest of the season of Raising Kanan. As usual, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and let's go ahead and get right into it. I actually want to start off with the death of Fmaous, his flashback, the reveal of who actually killed him, and Lou's involvement in that, because recently there's been some new clues, teasers that everyone has been pointing out in my comment section. I think it's thanks to Getting It How I Live. He's another Power channel. If you guys don't know him, go check him out. He connected these dots, so we're going to talk about that. But first, the relationship between, of course, Lou and Fmaous. We overhear him in the trailer talking about coming back to the streets for Fmaous, and Rock telling him I thought he was done with all this, and he said he's gonna make an exception.
Kanan gonna want some payback for his friend.
He ain't the only one.
Oh, you wasn't down with that kind of shit no more.
I'll make an exception for Fame.
We know him and Fmaous got close within season 3 when Fmaous made 411, and they had a conversation about the demons and the things that they did. We know Lou was going through the same thing, so he kind of related to what Fmaous had going on, and obviously he was his first artist, got Lou this job at the record label, and Lou this whole season thought he was okay. Clarence said he was gonna come back. We've seen him say it on multiple occasions to Marvin.
Around is that he's been talking.
Fame ain't no snitch.
We seen him tell it to B-Rilla.
You going? Fame is just taking a break for a minute, that's all.
We seen him tell it to Imani.
Famous is collecting his thoughts. He's figuring this shit out.
So you've spoken to him?
Don't need to talk to him. I know who he is.
Even the guy running the record label.
Anyone heard from him, by the way?
Not that I know of. He'll circle back. Fame just gotta clear his head.
So he's been mentioning this a lot, and he thought Fmaous, because he knew basically what he did or what was going on with him, that everything was going to be okay. And now that he's dead, this even brought Lou back to the streets, something that we thought we probably would never see. But now we're here where everyone's trying to figure out who could have taken out Fame, and I made multiple videos just ruling out with hella people that couldn't be, that just don't make sense. People still talking about Howard, people still talking about Ronnie, people still talking about all these different people that just, it doesn't add up. And mainly the people that don't add up is of course the Thomas family, because they talk about Fmaous being tortured, and I don't think any of them would do that as well. Now the biggest clues given was of course from Freddy's crew, where they said they heard it was the police that took out Fmaous.
Heard it was police that dropped Fame. Niggas saying they knew about some cops being dirty, and they got scared of him talking, so they snatched him up and put him down.
Now this is very interesting, because a lot of you guys have been pointing at Detective Garcia, how when Famous's mom first went to him about the situation, how he kept telling her just come back after a week, after a month, after 2 months, and so on and so forth. And now that his death has been revealed, he's trying to get her to flip on Kanan or the Thomas family or anybody else, or give her some information when he didn't help her out in the first place. Now all this is of course relevant and important, because we know Detective Garcia I believe he already beat up Kanan early this season. He's gonna have a conversation with Jukebox later on. Most of all, people are pointing out this scene we get in the preview for the episode 8 trailer where we can see someone with this black jacket shooting into a car. And once again, this is from Getting It How I Live. I think you guys said in my comments how the jacket is something Lou has worn before, and this car specifically, we saw Detective Garcia driving it in other scenes. So a lot of people suspect that this is who Lou is taking out, especially because the episode 8 description talks about Kanan looking into his theory on what happened to Fmaous. Of course, he currently thinks it's Rock because he saw Rock paying some cops some money, even though we know Rock didn't have nothing to do with it. She was already paying these cops from when she first bought the salon and everything like that. But nonetheless, it seems like if Lou is gonna get involved in whoever killed Fmaous, this is the way it's gonna happen. It would be interesting if it turns out not to be Detective Garcia though, and it was somebody in the Thomas family, or was a unique, which we're gonna dive into more later. It's all gonna be interesting to see how it plays out. But if it is Detective Garcia, then it's more than likely Lou in this scene who's shooting this gun that's killing someone. I originally thought it was Marvin taking out Stefano, but we're of course gonna have to wait and see to be sure. You guys let me know your prediction for that down below, of course. Next up, of course, we have B-Rilla. Quick rundown. We know at the beginning of this season, once Lou got out of rehab, he went to the record label to talk about his plans going forward, and they wanted him to look into their other artists and rappers to see what the future is, what's next for them. And that's where B-Rilla comes into the picture, where he was in jail at the time. Lou was able to pull some strings and get him out, as long as he was going to become his next artist. He was going to look out for him, everything like that. But the main problem, B-Rilla was fucking broke. This nigga got out of jail. He was living with Lou for a minute or whatever like that, and they had to make a deal with the record label. He said, I need some money, I need to get shit up and going. Come to find out, it's because of course he has a family, a baby mama, a kid, everything like that, and he wants to take care of them. Now he feels like Lou isn't putting him in position to do that currently, and we saw within episode 6 when Lou was telling him the things Imani was telling Lou, where people already heard B-Rilla old stuff. They want to hear something new, more of who he is. Show them that he's versatile, that he offers something else basically. So Lou finally approaches him with this in episode 6, and B-Rilla, he's not down with that shit. He's pissed off. He's like, fuck that, I know who I am, my shit hot, maybe you're the problem. This is the first time we see him and Lou bump heads, and Lou's like, hey, let me leave before I do something I regret. And B-Rilla talking shit like, I love to see that, and Lou tells him you really wouldn't, because we know the old Lou that didn't give a fuck, and that's the Lou that's starting to come out as the season continues. Now of course, because of his money problems, and because earlier in the season when they were meeting up with the record exec, he told him how he doesn't trust banks, so he could see why B-Rilla and people like them don't trust him, but how he keeps all his money in his house and shit like that. So B-Rilla, remember in that conversation, needing money, not waiting on Lou or the music to do his thing, he goes to somebody at the end of episode 6 and basically starts up a mission, a heist to go and rob the record exec. And we see this plan go down in episode 7, where he decides not to go in because he says the of course label nigga will notice him immediately. So the rest of his team goes in, and they end up killing the 2 motherfuckers in the house and don't even leave with no money or anything, and he just watches from the outside. Now of course he thought it was the label exec who got killed. He was in the studio with Lou later on. He was nervous, we could see it in his face, but the label exec walks in and he talks about how he was renting that house out to some people while he was living somewhere else while he was away, and so the people he killed was completely innocent, had nothing to do with any of this, and he just looked nervous after that. We gotta see how this comes back into play, falls back on Lou, if B-Rilla possibly just goes back to jail. But a lot of people seems to think that Lou will take him out himself. I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but it is something we just have to look out for going forward with the rest of this season. And last but not least, we get into Lou, him fully back into the game, working directly with Rock and Marvin in this fight against Unique, Phil Russo, Quan, everybody else, how those situations gonna play out. And we get a lot of clues based off the episode descriptions, with episode 408 Street Struck specifically saying Rock goes on the offensive as Marvin and Lou attempt to contain the escalating situations, as well as episode 409 is about that time Kanan, suspicious of Rock's involvement, investigates Crystal's disappearance. Rock faces fallout from Unique's retaliation and Marvin's mistake. Jukebox revisits her past, and Lou embraces his new path. And last but not least, episode 410, Give Me the Weight. A devastated Kanan furiously searches for answers and revenge. Rock attempts to stave off the collapse of her business as she and Lou prepare for a possible war with Unique. Now obviously all this is a lot, but we already heard Lou say within the last episode, if Unique is going after Rock, Marvin, Jukebox, or Kanan, then he's gonna have to get through him first.
Marvin's right. We can't stand down right now. We gotta make this nigga dead again.
Now all this is important because when it talking about him embracing his new path of being back in the game, something he wanted to be far away from within the first few seasons, and he's finally focused on his music, the thing he always wanted. Him going in this direction is leading a lot of people to believe something tragic has to take place within the Thomas family, and specifically that comes from the episode 410 description, where it talks about her and Lou specifically preparing for this war with Unique. People find that interesting because Marvin is her right hand man. He's Mr. Get Shit Done. Every time they need someone taken out, whether it's Sal, whether it's Lou, he rescued from the fire and shit like that, went and spent the block for him. Whether it's the homeless man who could have snitched on Kanan, usually Marvin is the one they call for these type of situations. But since it says Lou, people think one of two things happen. Obviously, one of the episode descriptions talks about Rock making up for Marvin's mistake, so people think they put him on a back burner and they don't want him in the line of fire because he's gonna fuck shit up repeatedly. Possibly he's been doing it the entire season. Or people think something tragic has happened to Marvin. Now, I don't think he necessarily will die. I think he's too important of a character, and with only one season left of Raising Kanan, I don't think it quite makes sense to kill him right now. I think that'd be a bad decision, but he could get fatally wounded or hurt or be in the hospital, or something does happen to where he's out of commission and Lou is back in the game more than ever. We do see this one scene of him and Rock from an old teaser we have yet to see take place within the season, so they're going to be working directly next to one another. Their relationship has been better than ever this season. When he went to his AA meeting, she showed up for him and everything like that. Of course, she paid for his rehab at the end of season 3, so we're going to see them actually work together. Lou specifically trying to save his family from the danger of Unique talking and threatening to take him out again, which is funny because we know from season 4 episode 1, the flashback episode, that Unique had the opportunity to take out Lou when he was drunk and outside the bar, but the white lady that owned the bar came out, and I guess he didn't want to kill her or have to leave any witnesses, so he decided not to do it. So it is funny to think about if that truth ever is revealed to Lou, that he almost got taken out by Unique. But this all is going to be interesting to see. Lou is diving fully back in the game. Honestly, this makes me scared for him because we know how the situation was for Ghost in original Power, being in and out, in and out, in and out, and that happens one too many times. It's to the point where your past always will come back to haunt you. You're never fully out, and eventually you just never make it out. So I think that could be in the cards for Lou by the end of season 5 with him returning to the game. Once again, we're just gonna have to wait to see how it all plays out. Overall though, that's it for this video. You guys can give your thoughts and opinions on everything Lou, specifically out of these next few possible kills, which one you think is most likely, but more so, what do you think the ending for Lou would look like? As I just mentioned before the outro, it's never good being in and out, because you just, I don't know, it gets to a point where you're never able to fully leave. And I feel like he had his chance within this season. Rock, someone who told him him that he never gonna be out. He always saying this shit that she owned him, everything like that. Finally kind of just gave him a way out, and he's fully entering back in. It is to protect his family, of course, but I don't know, it's just not looking good for him. So once again, just leave your predictions down below. Let me know any other videos you want to see while we're on this 1 week break before the new episode comes out next Thursday. I do hope we get more sneak peeks and teasers in this upcoming week. I know we're gonna get exclusive photos around Monday or Tuesday, so we're gonna break those down as well, so be on the lookout for that. As usual, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out.